And this is, all right, I'm going to pray. I'm excited this home. He is shaking. He's probably
Just have to move something that I might hit if I do. It's a little bit different with people in here.
shaking the stage right now with those.
The verses from the first part. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask to, as we text, don't the verses here and there. Whenever in the past, whenever I've read James 1, I've viewed it as two different sermons. The first half is when the letter was written, through on a day, the Bible talks a lot of power, that you do nothing. I've heard stories of people who have body image issues for years, or eating disorders, all because of it was even a joke, but it was taken personally. Your Luke 6:45. Know about flow of him. Making kids is not just a your parenting handbook. We're making sure that we're doing all the devotion with the number of times I understand means that I ought to be doing my devotions on a regular basis. When it talks about trials, and there's nothing more trying, at least at times for me, when we get home, we had a late night, long day at work. My kids have been annoying me most of the evening. We get home an hour and a half after bedtime, and I'm like, okay, let's go to bed. They go, are you gonna do your devotions? No, you know what? No, we'll just pray today. And then they throw back the line that I taught them of, there's always time for Jesus. When your kid looks at you and says, well, Dad, you said there's always time for Jesus. We should do our devotions. That's right, but that is trials. You want nothing more than just to, yeah. But we have persevered. Talking about making sure kids understand. It's amazing how often they don't. Just another challenge that I thought about. How often when you tell your kids to do something, or tell a coworker to do something, that you thought you were being clear, and it did not come across clear. I think of my kids. I tell my kids to clean up the basement. I said, we have company coming. Clean up the basement. And then I go look downstairs. It looks good. We have company over, and then last couple of weeks for our community group, the men have been going. We've been splitting up for the prayer time. So the men go downstairs, and as we come around the corner, the basement is not clean. What my kids heard was, when you're standing on the stairs and you look down, clean up that 5 feet. Throw everything to the side where you can't see. Now, I told them to clean the basement. What made them think that was okay? But before I can start yelling at my kids, I have to think, what made them think that? Well, they thought that because the last time that I went down to help them, that's what I did. I knew I wasn't bringing my guests downstairs. No, that's fine. So even though I told them one thing, I showed them something else. I'm making assumptions here, but I'm assuming that most of us tell our kids prayer is important. We tell them it's important to read their Bibles. We tell them they need to be respectful to others, be kind. We tell them all the right things. The problem is that kids see everything. Even though I told them to clean up, they saw how I did it, and that's what they went off of. So the question is not only what am I teaching them when I talk to them, but what am I teaching them with my actions? What am I showing them? You have to show them more than you talk to them as well. It's a lot like love. We need to tell our kids that we love them. Again, I'm going to harp on dads for this one as well. Dads, we need to tell our kids that we love them. And that doesn't mean like, good night, love you, have a good sleep. Not just the habit, but just surprise your kids with hey, I love you. But if you tell them that you love them, but you never give them any time, you telling them that you love them isn't going to mean anything. You have to show them. How often as parents do we do things we go dance recital, music recital, you go to sports, school plays, you drive them to a friend's house, you pick them up from the friend's house, you pick up their friends. We go out of our way to do so much for our kids so that they have fun, have a full childhood. Again, I want to say the list of things we do for our kids because we love them is endless. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, it does have an end. It ends when it hits spiritual things. Church is important. We read verse Acts 2:42 where it says believers got together daily to worship, and Hebrews 10:25 where it says do not stop or in the habit of doing, but encourage one another. We read these to our children, but then when there's a Wednesday night worship night, the kids really want to go, we're a little too busy. We went out, had a late night on Saturday, then church isn't as important. We tell them church is important, but we show them it's not. Church is important when it's raining and the fish aren't biting. Matthew 26:39. Just going to read it. Jesus is he's about to get betrayed, and he's in the garden, and he's praying. Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." Jesus did not want to go to the cross. He knew that he had to in order to fulfill his purpose and God's promise. So he willingly went. He willingly got whipped, beaten, and killed for us. Yet we are not willing to get out of our comfortable chair in the evening for a prayer night. I am saying this to tell you, give me a sec. Yeah, sorry. I'm not saying this that you need to come to everything that the church puts on, but the question is, what are you showing your kids, not just telling them? Too often we show them that Christ comes last. Church and Christ is only important when it is convenient for you. Is this what Paul was talking about when he says the testing of your faith develops perseverance? These small daily tests that God is important? I've talked a lot about showing your kids that you love them and telling them that. But another thing that we need to remember as parents is we will not always be their friends. Sometimes the showing love does mean discipline. During these times, our children will not like us. But it is important to discipline your children. And it's important to do this out of love. I know as a kid when we were getting a spank and Dad said, "I'm doing this because I love you," we did not believe him. But looking back, I do understand it now. So that was a lot about family. I'm just going to briefly touch on marriage. I'm not going to go too much into this because this could be its own sermon. But it is part of family, so I'm going to touch on this. Ephesians 5 talks about how we should be in marriage. Talks about men being the head of the house. Wives, submit to your husbands. Husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. He died for the church. Wives, respect your husbands, and husbands, be worthy of that respect. Are we doing this? Being the head of the house does not mean rule with an iron fist. The Bible talks about how two became one flesh. You are now one. You need to be on the same page. You need to be communicating. Somebody has to lead. It's like dancing. You can't both lead. If you both lead, you're just going to crash into each other, and it's going to be funny to watch, but it's not going to work. And if you both try to follow, well, then you're both going to stand there and not do anything. So don't think that being the one following makes you a weaker person. Not at all. But at the same time, don't think leading means that you go wherever you want. You need to be communicating with your spouse. Especially as well when it comes to discipline. We need to make sure we're on the same page when it comes to discipline. It can be incredibly trying for a marriage if you guys don't agree on how are you going to discipline your kids. This is a conversation that needs to be had before it's time to discipline your kids. When you're dating and you're talking about, oh, do you want children? That's the perfect time to be asking, how do you picture yourself disciplining? How do you picture yourself raising your kids? What's important? Wait until you have the kids to ask those questions. Communication, something that me and Brianne have learned in pre-marriage counseling. What I'm hearing you is, so once you have a conversation, you repeat. It is amazing the difference that you can hear between two people. There's an example actually just a couple months ago. There's a missions trip, a motorbike missions trip in South Africa. Well, they're going to like 5 countries. 5 weeks, it looked amazing. So I went and I asked my wife, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts? So what I heard was, no, what she said. First I'll say what I remember her saying, then I'll repeat what I heard. Like 5 weeks, do you even have that much holiday? Like, do you think that your boss would give you 5 weeks? Like, well, you can't take any of our, like, you can't, if you can get extra money, you can't take any of our money, but if you can get extra, then. What she meant was 5 weeks is more than your holidays are allowed. Like, don't you want to spend any time with me? And we're broke. You can't afford to be gone for 5 weeks. So I didn't ask her or tell her what I heard for about 3 weeks. I was making plans. I was halfway there in my mind. And I picked up on 1 or 2 small comments. And then I sat down and said, let me just let you know what I heard, just to make sure we're on the same page. Now, the mouth speaks. So she sits down and she's like, no, hon, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. Now, what she could have said is, how stupid are you? What kind of idiot thinks that is what I said? Now, can you imagine how our relationship would be if that's how we talk to each other? So it's just a reminder, what we say, how we react is important. So so the challenge is, how are you leading? What are we showing during those trying times? I had something else that I was going to say, and it's not coming to me, and it's not in my notes. I should have wrote it down. That's okay. Yeah, we're pretty much done. The band can start coming up. I just got one more point here. You know, in worship, we sometimes sing, "Good Father," because God is a good Father. Unfortunately,